Hi, welcome to this training session on Office 365 with Scribo solution. For next about 30 minutes, I will step you into how you could stand up Office 365 with the Scribo solution for the purpose of sale, demonstration, and deployment. This will help you to drive consumption and revenue both for Microsoft and the partner. See, this is the work. You see that flow now on your screen? Okay, so this is a workflow with the Lietratu Scribo solution, which is basically creation of content for evaluation and learning of students. And this can be created very quickly by teacher herself or himself. And that's what I'll go through. Okay, so if you see, shown the flow here. The first four boxes, green color, are basically setup of the solution, which is one time. So I will just show you this flow and then move to demo and then come back to show you the detail later. Okay. So this again, we are assuming that your customer who will try this out do not have a tenant. So even I've put steps for having a trial tenant. Now, if you are going to your customers where you're doing this POC or trial out or getting the customer flavor of solution, trial they already have a tenant. The first step is out. Okay. First, second step is also out actually. And Scribo solution needs the class notebooks to be deployed. Okay, so that's the step number 2.1, 2.2. Now, if that school has a class notebook also deployed, then this step is gone, also not needed. Okay, then finally, you need a plugin in the PowerPoint to be able to use Scribo. Okay, so that's the last setup, a one-time setup. So after the four steps are over, then we have the steps which will cycle through. So a teacher will create, let's say, a question paper, with the questions for the student. Then the teacher will assign those questions to his or her class. Okay, so these two blue boxes where I move the mouse. Make sense? Then after that, the students will receive the test in their OneNote. And in the OneNote, they will kick off and take the test or respond to the evaluation questions. That is 6.1, 6.2. Okay. Then after that, they will submit. When they have submitted, the teacher will assess or mark the evaluations. So after the assessment, the teacher will close the class or will say activity completed. What will happen then? The marked exercise, the evaluation exercise, which is now marked, will go back to the student's OneNote and the graded activity, and the student can actually start from there and see how did he or she did, can see how, and they can learn from that questions. Okay, so the brown boxes are activities by students, the blue boxes are activities by teacher, and they are repetitive, right? For every activity, you'll go round and round. And the green boxes are one time only by IT admin. Okay, so let's say I'm a teacher and I have done that activity, or my IT admin or I myself have done the activity of one time, the green box of deploying the Scribo plugin. The Scribo plugin will show up here. You see this ribbon? Okay, next to the mix one. So we know the mix one, right? Just like that, the Scribo ribbon gets introduced. Yeah. And then I will create my test. So I just created some very simple one. I want you to understand very clearly. So right now I'm in shoes of a teacher, okay, who's creating evaluation sheet for his or her students. Okay, so using Scribo, and let me pin it. What I will do, like in this exercise, it's like primary 2, primary 3, or whatever, and we want children to identify. So we are putting up a picture of animal here, and then we are saying, okay, various parts of this animal. So Scribo has this add text. Now this add text is a bit special. You put it there and you put the answers inside, the correct answer first. This is the question paper preparation time. So this is not what the students are doing at the moment. Huh? So let's say I will call this as the feet of the elephant. Then I will just put a simple line here. I already have two things here. I'm adding the third one just to show you. Okay, this one. And in the second page, I'm asking the students to write some notes about the comments about this animal. So write a few steps. This is my question, and they will be writing in long answer form. So in Scribo, here there is a long answer um, question also, command also. So Scribo commands, I'm not covering all of them, but I just used this one, add text. So when you say add text, it is a special text. I also used add long response. I've not used the others, so don't worry too much about it. Okay, and the left here, before you start doing what I just showed you, you need to log on to your tenant, your Office 365 tenant here. So I'm already logged in as the teacher here. Okay, then I use these two commands I showed you here. This one is just samples. So when you go and click this, it will show you a sway of how to use this, what I've just did. Then the other one important one I'll be using is assign the OneNote. Now I'm ready. I'm happy with this exercise I want to give to my students. Okay. And I'll say, okay, assign to OneNote. Take note, huh? Not assign to class, but assign to OneNote. See, it will give me the login into Office 365. So it goes into Office 365 because I was already doing this. It has taken my password. My token is floating in my desktop environment. But usually after that box, there will be a login where the teacher will put their password for the Office 365 tenant. Okay. And now I'm going to send this exercise to the students OneNote, which is very important for us, right? Activation, remember? So I'll call this activity as identify animal. Let's say 3. I did practice before, so 1, 2, 3 already take, well, sorry, 1, 2 taken up. Okay. I'm going to send it to the biology class 1, which is a classroom notebook set already created. Remember, we saw the green box that before you can use Scribo, you should have this created. You okay? Now, in that class notebook, there are 4 students. Okay, you know the class notebooks is always a set, right? Multiple students. So I can choose either some of them. Let's say if it is a remediation exercise for one of the student who's weak, I can do that, or I can select all of them. And I can create the sections. So here, Scribo is now able to see that OneNote I'm going to, and it is able to tell me which sections already exist in the OneNote. Let me just tell it to create a new section. Okay. So, and then I say assign. So now what is happening is that I as a teacher have created my activity for my students, and I'm assigning it off to them. Keep in mind the flow chart I showed you before we started on this journey. Okay. Now it's just going and syncing onto the students OneNote, which is very, very healthy and good for us because it will be generating a MAU signal. Okay, right. Let's go to the students. Oh boy. So the next part of the this demo I'm showing to you. In this next part, I will basically be student. Okay, now I'm not teacher anymore. I'm student. So do you see this identify animal appear here? Identify animal 3 appear here. Do you see? Okay. So on the left side of the screen, I'm a student by name George. Left side, there are 2 students here, left and the right side of the screen. On the left side, there is a student George Mitchell. On the right side, there is a student John Smith. Okay. So there were 4 students in this assignment when it was assigned, and I'm showing you 2 here. So you see a new section has been created. This itself will generate a activation signal for us for each student. Okay. So now if you see the content inside this section, there is one page called Lietratu activity. Now Lietratu activity says identifying animals 3 due on 23rd September. Okay. Let's just click it. The student will come. George Mitchell, will now come here. I will click there and I will get my interface to start answering my questions. Okay. So this is how it will look like. So I'm going to answer the questions. I'm going to say, oh, this is wings. They look like wings, to me. Okay, I'll call it wings. Then, I know this is the trunk of the elephant. Trunk. Now, I can check the question answers now itself. Or I can move to the next one, next question. There are two questions. See in the top left where my mouse is, it shows two questions, right? And total is 3 marks. So I can move and say, okay, check my, there you go. So I've done one of the two questions. You can see from the right here how many questions I've answered. And 67% is correct within this question because one of them is wrong. Okay. Now let me move to the next question anyway. The next question is a long form question. So the teacher asked me to write something about this fellow in the screen. It looks like a big chap, right? It's spec item, right? So, well, I can say this is a elephant that lives in Africa. Okay, got it? And then I'll say check answers. See, when I say check answer for a long answer, it will say that your teacher will grade this because that's not objective type, correct? And if you remember in the last question number one, it already had the right answer. Scribo had the right answers in its memory. And when I, as a student, answered the question, it was able to grade simultaneously or immediately after I answered. Okay, so that's one good feature where auto marking is there. Now the teacher's time is saved to mark objective questions. Okay, but when you take it out to the customers, they will say, what if there are long answers, non-objective? So Scribo can take a non-objective or long answers as well. But the thing is, they have to be marked by the teacher. Okay, so I will now hand in. I've answered my question. I've done my assignment. Let me hand in my, assignment to the teacher. I'm going to hand in, and when I hand in, see, it tells me that I get 2 out of 3 marks. But it also tells me your teacher will mark one more question. So your score will change because the subjective long answer question is not marked. So let's exit here and let's see it. Yeah, it is gone. So I, as George Mitchell, has submitted it already. Okay. Now let me also submit it as John Smith. Okay, I submit, go ahead. Let's very quickly do it. I won't do so much explanation to you this time. Just any question you have, go ahead and I'm listening. I'll answer you here. Okay. Next one is third. Next one is this is feet. I can go back one. Let me go to two and say trunk. Okay. Let me check my answer. Oh, all correct this time. See, I cannot back because no, I can go front, and this time I say this is a big animal that takes is very useful for humans or whatever. Okay. Um, check answer. I'm going to hand in again. Hand in. Yes, exit. So I got 3 out of 3, but then it'll be changed. Now, once the student has answered and submitted, the role is again shifted back to the teacher. The teacher has to do a marking, right? Correct? So now here I am in Scribo application. So it is happening in both. Some things will be happening in OneNote and it'll be actually OneNote is being used as a landing point for sending the assignment to the students. For then after the teacher has assessed, evaluated, and sends the comment back, it will be again put into the students' learning journey section. Okay, that's what we'll see. So now I am teacher here. I have this assignment. If you see on the right, I have sent it to 4 people. 2 have completed it. So and so is average score, and so on. I can monitor it live as they're doing it. So you see the display on the top left. 2 students have answered both the questions. 2 students have not even attempted. So Joe and Mike have not even attempted. Okay. The first question, there are 2 responses. One is correct. The other one is partially marked. And the second question for both is in brown color. That's a long answer. You okay? All right. So let me do a fast marking. And question number one, I don't need to mark, which is the objective question. Question number two, I need to mark. So I have to mark out of one. I will give George only half a mark, too short answer. Okay. But I'm okay with what John said. So let me give him full marks. Um, you should write more. Space come too early. Okay. So I've done the fast marking. Then I monitor. Now you see the display below on the top, in the bottom right changed. Um, in the first one is green, uh, and the second also one is green. The person who got full marks has correct. The second person, which is John, got partial marks. Okay, and I'm not as a teacher. I know I'm not don't want to wait for Joe and Mike. I want to close this exercise. This evaluation exercise is closed. Okay, so why that is important? Because when you close the exercise, you'll be sending your comments back to the student. So I just click this and say yes. I'm closing this exercise. Yes. Now what will happen is the completed grading with the comments of the teacher will go back to the student. And just watch this section, identify animals 3. You will have some changes come up once the screen is updated. So just give it a few minutes. Hang on. Okay, let me just refresh it manually. Refresh this. Open the left screen. Open John's sections. Go to the animal 3. Now you see that under animal in the identify animal 3 evaluation activity, there is an activity scorecard. You see that? Which is showing the marks for John. You see that? Right? And similarly on the left for George also, there is an activity scorecard. So this is basically a feedback. And for George, if you notice, there is a practice question number 1 and 2. George scored 2.5, and Scribo has told George again that he need to practice 1 and 2 because he did not get either of the questions fully correct. Yeah. Now on the right, uh, John did not get any practice questions because he scored full marks, right? But still, if he wants, he can click here and go to the Scribo page to review his answers. So here you can see, show me the correct answer. His answers are correct. You know, now you can see teacher's comment also. The teacher told John, even though he got full marks, that John should write more on this topic. Okay. But on the left side, where George needs practice, he can go to specific questions. And here the feature you should highlight to the customers is that this will come out blank. It will not show his wrong answers. So George can use this as many number of time as revision and practice. So again, now I have learned my mistake. I as George can now go and say, okay, this is what I learned. This is actually the trunk, and this is the feet. Okay. All right, check my answers. Yeah, now my answers are correct. So for our customers, it becomes a learning aid that automatically the uh, weak areas which the student should practice are getting highlighted. So you see the entire flow. This can go anytime in any of these activities and see who scored what was somebody's some students' strong points, what are the weaknesses, or the teacher or the IT admin can stand up Scribo on Office 365. I would say within an hour using this document. This document is completely independent or self-contained in everything that you need to start from a free Office 365 trial, free Scribo trial, and each is for 30 days. That's correct, for the first 30 days. After the 30 days, Office has to be verified as academic to continue, and Scribo, you will have to go for a paid Scribo. So bear in mind that um, the Office 365 online services can be free with the ones which is available and entitled for the qualified education customer. Only some of the people in school, that is the teacher who will create content, need Pro Plus. So everybody who uses Scribo does not need Pro Plus. Okay, only maybe if five or 10 teachers are creating the evaluation exercise, they need Pro Plus, so they need to buy that, right? But if there are, let's say, 500 students in that school, the Office 365 online, which is needed minimum for this Scribo, this solution I'm showing you to work, is free. After 30 days, you have to just validate or verify their academic domain. That's all. But for Scribo, after 30 days, it will become paid. But the main thing is, we need to work closely with the customer within the 30 days to really get them to like it. So if you see in this flow chart, I already put step numbers, 1.1, 1.3, and so on. So these numbers are actually in the document as we flow through. Okay. So there is a correlation. So first step is done by admin. So in the red color, I have written who is supposed to execute that step. So this first step is only required if the customer doesn't already have a tenant. Okay, let's say if you're doing it in a school or with a customer that already has academic tenant, this step is not required. This, yes, to start with, right? So it tells you where to go, what steps to do very clearly with pictures, and how to sign up for a free tenant. Okay. And then 1.2, I am showing how they have to verify their domain. If they do the domain, then it is permanent already. It is perpetual, this Office 365 portion. Okay. Then 1.3 is onboarding. So once you have tenant, you have to put your users inside and assign licenses. Correct? So either you can do one by one manually, but let's say there are 500 students or even 100 students. It's very hard to do that, correct? So what I've done is I've given the bulk upload files and steps which you can use to upload them. Okay. Yeah, yeah. So here is this file which I provide with this. So when I send you this document, I will also send you these files. And how do you do that? You go into the admin central in Office, say add user, then you pull this down and say import multiple user. It will ask you which file, and then you point to this file. Automatically, these users will get created rather than one by one. So, because let's say you're doing in a school with a few hundred students, it's it's somebody's a lot of work to try to put every student in one by one. Okay. Then similarly, you have to assign licenses. So again, you can select all the teachers, then assign teacher license or student, or you can use this PowerShell script. You see, I've given you two files here. One is a CSV file, and there is a PowerShell file. So you can use this to again assign the license automatically. Then 1.5 step, make sure that in that tenant, OneDrive is working is the service is on, the SharePoint Online is on, and class notebook is there, it exists as a application in the tray in the waffle application waffle. Okay, absolutely right, got it. So we are on the second step now. The second step again done by the admin, and this is for deploying the class notebook. Again, if that school already using class notebook, then you will be able to actually get the don't have to do this step. Okay. So class notebook will create a collection of OneNotes, right? Uh, it'll create a collection of OneNotes rather than a single OneNote. Make sense? So this step just says how to create it. I've just explained this. I won't go into details. Here, see the OneNote is created, and here you can see the name of the students: George Mitchell, Joe Bloggs, John Smith, Mike. You can see that here, right? Where I'm moving the mouse. So this step basically creates the OneNote for all the students called Biology Class 1. That's the one we were using in demo as well, correct? Now, once that is done, I'm just highlighting and showing here that everybody have their own sections. Once that is done, we come to step number 3. You okay so far? Okay. Step 3 is to get the author their device so that Office 365 Pro Plus can run, and also download and install the PowerPoint plugin. Done? So what you will do is on the teacher's devices, this particular box, the yellow box, you know how to install Pro Plus, right? Okay, so this step basically shows the Pro Plus has been installed so that the PowerPoint is able to work on the author or teacher's devices. Step number 3.2 shows how and where to get the plugin, the Scribo plugin. So I've given the URL link here. Step number 3.3 basically shows you all the screen when you install the plugin. Okay, so nothing but I just given all the screens so that you know. Okay, now let's come to step 4. Step 4 is for the author. So if I'm the teacher, this step is for me. So my device, I fire up the PowerPoint, and in PowerPoint already this Scribo ribbon is showing, correct? Correct? Then I log in here, like I showed you when I was doing the demo. When you log in first time, it will ask you for app permissions, and it will also allow you to create a community of within around you using a key. Okay. Once you do that, it will create a Scribo account for you. It'll take you to the Scribo screen and create a Scribo account. Okay. After that, you will start seeing the complete ribbon commands. Now you see all the Scribo commands are visible. Correct? The ones which we used add text, we use add long responses, we used monitor class or assign to one node. I didn't use all, but we just use this. Okay. The next one will be to actually create the activities and assign the activities. So we actually saw the step number 3.5.1 and 5.2 in the demo. On the right column, you can write your notes and you can do it per school. So you can write school name, customer name. My recommendation is really get the school interested in doing it rather than you try to do it, because how many places can you do, right? See, this step also you saw in the when I assigned the one note, right? We went through this. Then we saw that the intimation appeared in the student's one note. Then student click and go and actually take. Then he had in. Yes, yes, yes. So what you saw in demo, then the teacher, the in step number 7, the author monitored again that how many have done. So for example, here Mike has not responded. There were some long questions, and just like in demo, we did a little more data here. So I've given you everything, actually every single step here, and then how the activity scorecard shows up, and the student can practice from that if the questions the student has done are not all correct, and so on. And then some resources here. That's it. What we want you to do is to go and put it in schools where you think it is right, maybe at least 5, 10 to start with. Leverage the customer and partner. So again, I'm sorry, I'm repeating a couple of times. If you try to do yourself, it may never fly because you got 10 things to do, right? Number two, you have to think it as both consumption and revenue play. because there is so much of OneNote. OneNote is like a landing page in this whole process of evaluation every time that we will get signals to do, and the subsidiaries MAU numbers will be very healthy. Number three, it will be we need to sell Pro Plus at least to the teachers, okay, and we want them to buy Scribo, which is not free, which is only free for 30 days. So there is a revenue, there is a consumption, and obviously, I mean, the competitions don't have these kind of solutions where you are creating this automated objective assessments, ability of students to practice in their weak areas and so on, all those features. So it will help you to also keep competition in check in your accounts. Yeah. So that's what it is. And we really want you to take this. I will send you this Word document, and everywhere there is a gray colored file name, I'm going to send you that file also. So, for example here there are two sample PPT files with the Scribo questions, bird and beaks, and this one. I'll send you that. I will also send you the setup of files, the PowerShell, small PowerShell file, the CSV file, and the TXT file. Okay, so when you have all these files with this Word file, you're totally independent in starting it off. The partner will take all this and implement or deploy in the schools. Get them encouraged, get them interested in doing that. So, in closing, I would like to thank you for sparing your time and would like to wish you happy selling.